Hey guys, it's MMA Vulture coming at you live with UFC Fight Night Moreno versus Albazi, full card picks, and betting breakdown. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into it with the first bout of the night being Jack Shore versus Youssef Zalal. And in this fight, I am going with Youssef Zalal. I think that he's the more well-rounded fighter out of the two. I think that his kickboxing style is definitely going to propel him to the win here. I feel like he's got good striking, quick, clean combinations. He's got the knockout power to go along with that. And not only is he a good striker, he is a good grappler. He's a check all the boxes type of fighter. He's got very strong body locks. He's got strong takedowns. He's got sneaky submissions. So he's not only good in the striking department, he's good in the grappling department. And I feel as though Jack Shore kind of lacks in the striking department a little bit. He's a decent striker with a stiff jab. He mixes up his shots semi-well. He's got decent high and low kicks. But he mainly shines in the grappling area. He's got crafty jiu-jitsu. He's a good grappler with solid takedowns, sneaky submissions as well. But I feel as though he's up against somebody that is just better in every aspect in Youssef Zalal. I think that Youssef Zalal is definitely going to be the better striker. In terms of grappling, I feel as though he's the better submission artist. I think that he's going to be able to mix in his strikes and take down Jack Shore. I think Jack Shore lacks in the striking a little bit and will find it hard to find takedowns on Youssef Zalal without that striking to kind of mix in. I feel like he needs to mix in his striking to get those level changes and earn respect from Youssef Zalal. I think Youssef Zalal will be able to take Jack Shore down. I think his relentless pressure will find a way to beat Jack Shore. Youssef Zalal also got released by the UFC, had to fight his way back. He ended up destroying Billy Q, then went out and beat Jarno Aarons via submission and looked good doing so. He looked very dominant. He looked amazing. And I'm excited to see this fight against Jack Shore, which Jack Shore recently lost to Joanderson Brito, who was destroying his knee and just wasn't looking the best. But again, Joanderson Brito is a great fighter. No shame in that one. He then beat Amir via submission and then lost to Ricky Simone via submission. So I really see as though Youssef Zalal will be able to find the submission finish on Jack Shore. I think that he's going to be able to advance positions, maintain control of Jack Shore on the ground. Yes, Jack Shore is a good grappler with sneaky submissions of his own. I just think that Youssef Zalal is better in that area, and we could see him find the submission on Jack Shore. Jack Shore tends to make mistakes, and Youssef Zalal is good at exploiting them and could find that submission finish on Jack Shore. Not to mention, Youssef Zalal does have an inch reach advantage as well as a 2-inch height advantage. So it's going to be interesting to see how this fares on the feet as well as in the grappling department. I got Youssef Zalal to beat Jack Shore, and let's go ahead and look at the odds on this, in which Jack Shore is sitting at a plus 210, Youssef Zalal is sitting at a negative 245. I really think that this could go over, because the over 2.5 sitting at a negative 235, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 195. I could see Youssef Zalal finding the submission, but if I'm going to be honest, I think this goes the distance. I think that Youssef Zalal uses the striking ability of his to find the shots on Jack Shore, keep him at bay, pick him apart, mix in those level changes, mix in those takedowns, find those takedowns, maintain control of him, pepper him with shots, advance positions, maybe find the submission. I do think that he could find it, but I'm going to say he wins it via decision. Give me Youssef Zalal to beat Jack Shore. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, in which we have Jamey-Lyn Horth versus Ivana Petrovic. And this one is an interesting one, because I feel as though these two neither of them are the best fighters. I feel like they're kind of mediocre. They're both 1-1 in the UFC. And Ivana Petrovic's coming off of a win against Nia Liang, who he submitted via arm triangle. She looked good. Her striking is good. She's a decent striker with quick combinations, snappy kicks. She's a good grappler with impressive jiu-jitsu. She does have the reach advantage as well as a very slight height advantage, as you guys can tell, on the Ivana Petrovic side. And then on the Jamey-Lyn Horth side, I feel as though she's a pressure-heavy fighter with decent striking, quick, stiff jab, but where she mainly shines is that grappling. She's a good grappler with strong takedowns. If she gets you down to the ground, she will maintain you on the ground. I feel as though she's going to be the stronger fighter out of the two with the better grappling abilities, but I think that Ivana Petrovic is going to win. I'm going with Ivana Petrovic because I think that Jamey-Lyn Horth doesn't have the striking to mix up and will therefore kind of telegraph her grappling, telegraph her takedowns. I feel like Ivana Petrovic will be able to see her going for the takedowns, be able to snub the takedowns, be able to counter strike and hit Jamey-Lyn Horth. I think that Ivana is going to have the striking advantage, be the quicker fighter here. I think that she's going to be able to tag Jamey-Lyn Horth. I think Jamey-Lyn Horth is going to eventually try and find the takedown on Ivana, but I think Ivana is going to be able to snub her. I think she's going to be able to see the telegraph that Jamey-Lyn always does and be able to snub her takedowns. I think Jamey-Lyn Horth needs to bring more of a striking danger so that her grappling doesn't really show and her takedowns don't show. I think Ivana is going to show here that she's the better fighter in terms of striking. I think that even in the grappling department, she's going to shine with snubbing her takedowns and showing that Jamey-Lyn Horth isn't the greatest grappler and is kind of mediocre. So give me Ivana Petrovic to beat Jamey-Lyn Horth. And let's look at the odds here, in which Jamey-Lyn Horth is a negative 200. I really can't believe that. I get that she just had a win over, or a loss over Veronica Hardy, where it was a close split decision, and then a win over Haley Cohen. But again, I think Ivana Petrovic is going to beat Jamey-Lyn Horth. I think that she's got the striking advantage. She's got the reach and height advantage, as well as I think she's got the speed advantage. I think she's going to be able to tag up Jamey-Lyn Horth, enter and exit the pocket with ease, and beat her. I think this definitely goes over 2.5, sitting at negative 400, under 2.5, sitting at a plus 300. I definitely think this goes over. I think this goes to the distance. Give me Ivana Petrovic to beat Jamey-Lyn Horth in a back-and-forth battle. And let's move along to the next bout, in which we have Chad Anheliger versus Cody Gibson. And I am going with Cody Gibson. Cody Gibson is coming off of a win against Brian Keller where he looked good. He submitted Brian Keller via arm triangle. Cody Gibson has a good kickboxing style with good striking. He's got those snappy kicks, high and low. He's got a stiff, quick jab. He likes to strike from the outside, which is where I think he's going to shine in this fight. He's also a good grappler. He's got decent takedowns. He's got solid takedown defense. I feel as though he's going to be the better fighter here. He was a finalist in the Ultimate Fighter where he lost to Brad Katona in unanimous decision. But he looked good in that fight. He had some moments, but then started to kind of dull out as the fight went on. But again, he easily beat Brian Keller. He looked dominant in doing so. He also has the significant reach and height advantage here, over 4 inches in height, as well as over 8 inches in reach. So he's got insane reach advantage, insane height advantage. He's got a lot of advantages in this fight. I think that Chad Anheliger is a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's nobody to sleep on. He's a good striker with quick combinations, but sometimes throws looping shots. But he also has nasty leg kicks. Nasty, nasty leg kicks. He puts out a crazy volume, which I think he's going to do here. But I think Cody Gibson is going to be able to fare well with that volume. He's no easy task. He's a good fighter. Yes, Chad Anheliger has good cardio and is a good grappler with decent scrambling abilities, but he did lose to Jose Johnson by submission in the 3rd round via rear naked choke. I think Cody Gibson could get it done here. I really do. He also lost to Alitagani. I can't even say that name, but I rewatched that fight and I just feel like he looks flat, dull, sometimes throws those looping shots, overextends, kind of leaves that chin out. And I feel like Cody Gibson is a pretty technical kickboxer who is going to be able to maintain distance, kind of keep Chad Anheliger at bay, kind of strike from the outside, land those shots, pick him apart, mix in those takedowns, snub Chad Anheliger's takedowns, and get the better of Chad. I think Cody Gibson gets it done here. I think he's a definite win here. Not a definite win. Let me rephrase that, because it's definitely going to be a back-and-forth battle between these two. I think it's 29-28. Cody Gibson wins it. I think it's definitely going to be a back-and-forth battle. Not easily wins it. And let's look at the odds here, in which we have Cody Gibson at a negative 190, Chad sitting at a plus 165. I like Cody Gibson. Like I said, he went into a tough battle with Brad Katona, and he ended up beating Brian Keller in his previous bout and looked phenomenal. Dominantly submitted him. Give me Cody Gibson to beat Chad Anheliger, and I think this definitely goes over 2.5, sitting at negative 245, under 2.5, sitting at plus 195. I definitely think this goes to decision. I think Cody Gibson squeaks it out. I think it's a close call between these two, 29-28. Cody Gibson takes the W. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, and which is a very, very interesting one, in Sidey versus Garrett Armfield. And I was going to pick Garrett Armfield, but going back and looking at it, I went with Sidey. I think that Sidey's going to beat Garrett Armfield. I think that his heavy kickboxing style is going to do him wonders in this fight. He's a good striker with that knockout power. I feel as though he's going to be able to maintain distance, strike from the outside against somebody like Garrett Armfield. Use that quick, stiff jab of his to keep Armfield at bay. Use those nice, snappy high and low kicks to kind of also keep that outside striking and use it to his best abilities. Also, not only that, he's also a pretty good grappler with good takedown defense. But I feel like he wins this by maintaining distance. I really feel as though Sidey needs to maintain those distance, pop off those leg kicks, those high and low leg kicks, use his stiff jab to keep Armfield at bay, start mixing in those shots, mixing in those level changes, and just really piecing up Armfield. I really feel as though that's how Sidey gets it done. I feel like Armfield on the other side is a pressure fighter who thrives in a brawl, and which is where I think that he needs to turn this fight into a brawl, is what I'm trying to say. I feel as though Armfield needs to turn this fight into a brawl. He's got good striking. He's got dirty inside boxing. He's got a decent jab. He mixes up his shots well to the head and to the body. He's also a good grappler with strong takedowns, maintains control of you when he gets you down. I feel as though Armfield has a slight advantage in the grappling ability and the grappling area, but Sidey has the definite striking advantage. And not only that, I feel as though he's also going to be able to maintain that distance. Like I said, that's going to be one of the key factors. If Garrett Armfield can get him down, he's going to and maintain control of him. Sidey's in for a rude awakening. But if Sidey can snub those takedowns of Armfield, keep him at bay, and maintain distance and strike with him, I think Sidey gets the W here and beats Armfield. Sidey didn't look the greatest in his fight against Ramon Tavares. It was a split decision. I feel like it could have gone either way, to be honest. But I feel like he did look a little bit flatter than he usually does. But again, he did beat Ramon Tavares in the Contender Series, knocking him out. So, yes, he didn't look the best in the last debut. But I think that he could get it done here. I think that fight could have gone either way, and he's going to get it done here against Garrett Armfield. He is one of the last Canadians to kind of keep it alive here for them, because they've been getting destroyed as of lately. So let's see if Sidey can beat Garrett Armfield. I'm going with Sidey. And let's look at the odds here, in which Sidey is sitting at a negative 155, Garrett Armfield sitting at a plus 135. I like Sidey. Telling you, I think that he's the better striker. He's got the reach advantage as well. I think he could get it done here. I think he's going to be able to keep Garrett Armfield at bay. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 170. Under 2.5 sitting at plus 140. We could see Sidey get it done here and end it early, but I think that he gets it done via decision. I think that he's going to outstrike, pick apart Garrett Armfield, keep him at bay, keep him at distance, and beat him. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, in which we have Alexandr Romanov versus Rodrigo Nascimento. And this one is a weird one, because they're both not the greatest fighters. Rodrigo Nascimento came out, got knocked out by Derrick Lewis. As we all saw, I feel as though Nascimento was on a good streak. He was looking good. He won via unanimous decision over Don'Tale Mays, then won against Latifi, and beat Tanner Brozier in a split decision where he looked good in. He looked good in all those fights, but he's going up against Alexander Romanov, who hasn't been looking the greatest as of lately, um, who previously fought Jailton Almeida and got submitted. And I feel as though Rodrigo Nascimento is going to be able to get it done here. Alexander Romanov does bring a grappling danger, but I feel as though Rodrigo Nascimento is going to be able to keep him at bay, use those strikes of his to find Alexander Romanov. I know Rodrigo Nascimento kind of throws those looping shots, but I believe that that could actually help him here in the sense of catching Alexander Romanov, who tries to go for takedowns and kind of gets overzealous with them at times. I feel like Rodrigo Nascimento could also use his grappling ability and take down Alexander Romanov. I feel as though he's going to be the stronger fighter here. I do get that Rodrigo does kind of have a little bit of a cardio issue, but I think that he's going to be fine here. Romanov actually has the cardio issue. My apologies. Rodrigo is going to be able to land on Alexander Romanov. I think he's going to be the slicker striker in the sense that he also has a quick, stiff jab. He's heavy-handed. He's got good jiu-jitsu. He's going to be the cleaner grappler. I think that Romanov, yes, again, like I said, does bring the grappling danger, but I think Rodrigo Nascimento brings more of a submission threat. I think Romanov is a little bit more of a wrestling threat. I think that Romanov has decent striking. He throws looping shots as well as Rodrigo. I think Rodrigo is a little bit more technical, though, than Alexander Romanov, and that's why I'm going with Rodrigo Nascimento to beat Alexander Romanov. I think that Romanov is going to lose here. I really think that, yes, he could get a takedown, and he's going to be dangerous from top control. If he can get Rodrigo Nascimento down and start landing some ground and pound, then Nascimento is definitely in trouble. But I think Nascimento is going to be able to pick apart Alexander Romanov. I think that he could mix in some level changes, find the takedown on Alexander Romanov maybe, and even maintain control of Alexander Romanov, landing some nice ground and pound. Give me Rodrigo Nascimento to beat Alexander Romanov in a interesting fight. I think that this goes to decision. I think these two, again, aren't the best heavyweights. Yes, it's obviously dangerous, but I think that this goes to decision. And let's look at the odds here between these two, in which it's pretty much a coin flip. Nascimento sitting at a negative 121. Alexander Romanov sitting at a plus 101. Like I said, I'm going with Nascimento. I think he's a little bit more technical of a fighter. I think these two are both not really technical fighters either way. They both throw looping shots and kind of get overzealous at points, but I think Nascimento is a little bit more technical, will be able to pick apart Alexander Romanov. I feel like Nascimento is the more dangerous submission artist as well. And I do think that this goes over 1.5 sitting at a negative 170, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 140. I like the Rodrigo Nascimento route as well as the over 1.5. Like I said, I get that it's obviously a slippery slope seeing as these two are heavyweights, but I think this goes over. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, in which we have Charles Jourdain versus Victor Henry. And man, oh man, am I excited for this one. Charles Jourdain is actually dropping down from 145 to 135. He is a slick, technical fighter who's good, who has good striking. He's got clean, quick combinations. He's got nasty, snappy leg kicks. He's also a good grappler. He's not only a good striker. He's a good grappler with tricky submissions. He's got relatively good takedown defense as well. He's got tricky submissions, like I said, strong takedowns. I feel as though he's going to be able to beat Victor Henry here. Victor Henry is nobody to sleep on, though. Like I said, Victor Henry has never been finished in his career. He's a good striker with knockout power. He mixes up his shots very, very well. He's got clean, quick combinations, too. He's a decent grappler that has good takedown defense. And I feel as though Charles Jourdain coming down, yes, hasn't been looking the best, but again, has been fighting up a class in 145. I feel as though this is the best option for his career. He hasn't been looking good as of lately. He lost to Sean Woodson, who is a good prospect. It's not like he's going out there losing against trash cans. He's losing against some pretty good prospects and good fighters in the UFC, and then lost to Gene Silva and got knocked out. I feel as though this is a great idea by him to drop down. I feel as though he's going to be better in this weight class. I feel as though he could absolutely dominate in this fight against Victor Henry. I think that we're going to see a different Charles Jourdain come out. He's going to be a slick, technical fighter. He could find that knockout on Victor Henry. Victor Henry is coming off of a win against Yahya, where he got a nice knockout over him, and then a accidental groin kick, as you guys can see, a no contest, and then a win over Gravely, which he took, and he looked phenomenal in that as well. I mean, he also got a unanimous decision, not split decision, over Barcelos, and he's not going up against the trash cans either. He's going up against some pretty good prospects and pretty good fighters. But again, I think that he's going to step in the ring with Charles Jourdain, who's going to absolutely obliterate him. I think that we're going to see Charles Jourdain in another fashion, like a new 2.0 Charles Jourdain, who's going to come out, be even slicker on the feet. I think he's going to have the speed advantage here. Not only that, he has a slight reach advantage, a 1-inch reach advantage, and a 2-inch height advantage. I think we're going to see Charles Jourdain 2.0, and he's going to be the slicker fighter here. He's going to pick apart Victor Henry, mix in those takedowns, mix in those nasty leg kicks he has, and pick apart Victor Henry. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here, in which we have Charles Jourdain sitting at a -115, Victor Henry sitting at a -105. So again, this is actually a coin flip as well. I'm thinking Charles Jourdain is going to go out there and beat Victor Henry in dominant fashion. I really do think it's going to be 30-27 Charles Jourdain. But I could see how Victor Henry might squeak around, and it could be 29-28. Victor Henry is no slouch, but I think that Charles Jourdain made a business decision in dropping down, and we're going to see a new Charles Jourdain 2.0. Over 2.5 sitting at a -265, under 2.5 sitting at a +205. I like the over 2.5. I do think that this goes to cards, but again, Charles Jourdain is a dangerous threat. Same with Victor Henry. I like the overs, though. Give me Charles Jourdain to beat Victor Henry. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout. In Ariane Lipski versus Jasmine Jasudavicius. And I'm going with Jasmine. I think that she's going to beat Ariana Lipski. I think that Jasmine's heavy pressure fight style is going to propel her to the victory here. I think that she's a good striker with a quick, stiff jab, as well as the grappling side of things. Let's look at that. She's got strong takedowns. When she takes you down, she maintains control of you. She's good at advancing positions. She brings a submission threat. So, I mean, I've got to go with Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think that she's the better fighter on the feet and in the grappling department. I think that she looked good in her fight against Klein, where she got a unanimous decision. She looked phenomenal in this fight, as well as in her fight against Priscilla. She got the Darce choke, and she looked phenomenal in doing so. She really brings a dangerous submission threat to this fight, and I'm going to continue to say that. I think that Lipski, again, is a good striker. She's nobody to sleep on. She's got clean, quick combinations. She's got nasty leg kicks. She's a all-right grappler. I think that she's got decent takedown defense. I think that Jasmine Jasudavicius is definitely going to be able to take her down. She's going to have the obvious grappling advantage. I think in terms of striking, it's going to be a little bit closer on the feet. I think that Jasmine Jasudavicius is going to be able to mix in the level changes with her striking, be able to take down Ariana Lipski, be able to maintain control of her, land some nice ground and pound, advanced positions on her, and maybe even find a submission. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here, in which we have Ariana Lipski sitting at a +192, Jasmine Jasudavicius sitting at a -227. I like Jasudavicius. Her money line is good for her. Not only that, I feel like she's good to add into a parlay at -227. You're getting good odds here. Over 2.5 sitting at a -260. I think this definitely goes to decision. I think that Jasmine could find a submission, so do keep that in mind, because she does bring that submission threat. Like I said, I think that she's going to be able to fare well on the feet against Ariana Lipski. Mix in those level changes with her striking and find the takedowns, maintain control, and beat Ariana Lipski in a good 29-28 brawl. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, in which we have Ayman Zahabi versus Pedro Munoz. And I was going back and forth with who to pick on this, and I'm going with Ayman Zahabi. And I know that's going to surprise a lot of you guys because Pedro Munoz is definitely a threat. He's nobody to sleep on. I get that he lost to Kyler Phillips, but again, Kyler Phillips is a dog. Yes, Kyler Phillips went out and lost to Rob Font, but again, top contenders. Nobody that is a bum. Nobody that is mediocre at all. Top level fighters, top contenders and everything. Lost to Marlon Vera via unanimous decision. Again, another good fighter, not a bum. Beat Chris Gutierrez in a unanimous decision. Looked phenomenal doing so, grappling, striking wise. Got a no contest against Sean O'Malley, and then lost against Dominic Cruz. He's going out there. It's not like Pedro Munoz is a bum or anything. He's a good striker with quick, clean combination. He's dirty with his inside boxing. He's got quick, snappy low kicks. He's a good grappler with decent takedown defense. I just think that Zahabi is going to bring something that he's not, and Zahabi is a good striker with that knockout power. And I feel like Pedro Munoz doesn't have the knockout power he used to. I feel as though Zahabi has that knockout power. He's got a quick, clean jab. He mixes up his shots very, very well to the head and to the body. He likes to strike from the outside. He's a good grappler. He has the reach and a slight height advantage, so that is also something to keep in mind. He has strong takedowns. I feel like as though Zahabi is going to be able to maintain distance, kind of keep Pedro Munoz at bay, be able to strike with him, be able to piece him up, kind of mix in those level changes, mix in those takedowns. If he has any trouble with the striking of Pedro Munoz, then he will resort to that grappling of his, and I feel as though he's going to have the grappling advantage here against Pedro Munoz. And if he has any trouble on the feet, like I said, he will go back to that grappling ability of his and beat Pedro Munoz. I get that it's going to be a surprise to a lot of you. I mean, Pedro Munoz has been up against great competition. Zahabi has beat Javid Bashrat, the brother of David Bashrat that just fought recently. And he looked good in doing so. Got a unanimous decision, beat the crap out of him, knocked out Ari Lang, and also beat Ricky Chikurios via unanimous decision. He's been looking phenomenal, has been getting some nice knockouts. He's got dangerous power. I think that Ayman Zahabi is definitely getting overlooked here and is going to beat Pedro Munoz. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here, in which Zahabi sitting at a -104, Pedro Munoz sitting at a -116. Another very, very close coin flip in which I'm going with Zahabi. I think that he's going to be able to maintain distance, keep Pedro Munoz at bay. If he has any trouble in the striking department, he will resort to that grappling ability of his, and I feel as though he will be able to take Pedro Munoz down. Over 2.5 sitting at -400. Under 2.5 sitting at a +300. I like the over 2.5. I do think that this goes to decision. I think Zahabi kind of maintains that distance, keeps Pedro Munoz at bay, outstrikes him, picks him apart, overwhelms him, and mixes in those takedowns. Give me Ayman Zahabi to beat Pedro Munoz. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout in Mike Malott versus Trevin Giles as the main card opener. And this one is another great matchup between these two, in which I am going with Mike proper Malott. I think he's going to get it done here. He's a good striker with the knockout power for sure. He's got a quick, stiff jab. He's a good grappler with solid takedowns. And if he gets you down, you are not getting up. He maintains control of you when he gets you down. He's got tricky submissions. He knows how to advance positions very, very well. He's got the grappling advantage here against Trevin Giles, for sure. For sure. Not only that, I believe he's got the striking advantage. Trevin Giles is no slouch in the striking. I do think that Mike Malott is a little bit more precise and calculated. I think that Trevin Giles is a explosive striker with good striking abilities. He's got knockout power, but a lot of the times he kind of sometimes throws very looping heavy shots that land, but again, very looping, easier to telegraph. He's very good at entering and exiting the pocket. I will say that. That is something I do want to mention. He's very, very good at entering and exiting the pocket without getting hit. But again, he is chinny. He did get knocked out by Carlos Prates. He is a decent grappler with decent takedown defense. I feel as though Mike Malott has a clear-cut grappling advantage. And like I said, Trevin Giles is chinny. I think that he could get it. I think Mike Malott can get it done on the feet and even in the grappling department. As you guys seen, Trevin Giles actually lost to Gabriel Botham via guillotine choke. And yes, Gabriel is a highly touted prospect, but again, I think Mike Malott is a great prospect on his way up. I think he can get it done on the feet and in the grappling department against Trevin Giles, who, yes, brings a early danger in the sense that he's explosive in the start, but as the fight goes on, as the rounds go on, it's going to favor Mike Malott. I feel as though Trevin Giles, as this fight goes on, it's not going to favor him. He's going to get a little bit less dangerous. He's going to start throwing a lot more looping shots and get a little bit less technical as he goes on. Give me Mike Malott to beat Trevin Giles. And let's look at the odds here, in which Mike Malott is sitting at a negative 250. Trevin Giles sitting at a plus 210, which is where I expected. Mike Malott is a lot more technical. He's got the clear-cut grappling advantage as well. I feel as though he's going to get the better of Trevin Giles, picking him apart, overwhelming him, using those level changes, definitely getting those takedowns on Trevin Giles. I definitely see him getting the takedown, maybe even shooting for the takedown early to kind of diminish the power of Trevin Giles. Like we said, he's very explosive. He's got that knockout power, so we could see Mike Malott take him down to the ground early, kind of diminish that power of his, maintain control of him, overwhelm him, make him uncomfortable, and land some nice ground and pound and beat him. Give me Mike Malott to beat Trevin Giles. Over 1.5 sitting at a negative 137, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 107. I do feel as though this does go under. I think Mike Malott could find the submission finish or even a knockout because Trevin Giles is very chinny. Give me Mike Malott via submission, though. I think he finds the submission. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout. In Marc-Andre Barriault versus Dustin Stoltzfus. And in this one, I am actually going with Barriault. I think that his pressure-heavy fight style is going to propel him to the win here again. He's a good striker with clean, quick combination. He's got precise inside boxing. He's got nice, snappy kicks. He's a good grappler with strong takedown, solid takedown defense. I feel as though he's going to have the grappling advantage here. Not only that, I feel as though in the striking department, it's going to be very, very close between these two. I got to go with Barriault. I think that he's going to get it done against Stoltzfus. I think Stoltzfus is a underrated kickboxer. He's got good striking. He's got quick front kicks that are definitely nasty. He mixes up his shots to the head and to the body very well. He's one of those fighters that likes to maintain distance, strike from the outside, pepper you with shots from the outside, use those kicks from the outside. He's also got decent grappling. He also has solid takedown defense. He's 2-5 in the UFC, so he's been having trouble in the UFC. As you guys can see, he lost to Gerald Meerschaert via rear naked choke, then won against Dwight Grant via unanimous decision, then lost against Abus Magomedov. I mean, we saw Abus Magomedov. He's an absolute fucking savage, man. He's a dog, so that's no take on that one, but then he came out and won via submission against Soriano, who isn't the best grappler. He was all right. And then you got a loss to Bruno Fieta where he did have moments. I will say that he did have moments on the feet. But Bruno Fieta ended up putting him out with a nice spinning elbow that put his lights out. And like I said, I think Marc-Andre Barriault has nasty striking. Not only that, is a good grappler. I think that he has a clear-cut grappling advantage. I think that we could see him beat Dustin Stoltzfus. I get that Barriault hasn't been looking the greatest. He went to a split decision with Chris Curtis, who is a knockout artist. So keep that in mind. Chris Curtis is an amazing fighter that is a knockout artist. So for him to go to split decision means a lot. And he had moments in that fight. It's not like it was all Chris Curtis. No, he had moments in that fight. And then he lost to Joe Pyfer, who, I mean, it's Joe Pyfer, man. He got knocked out by Joe Pyfer. Nothing needs to be said about that. I'm going with Marc-Andre Barriault. I think he's going to put the pause on Dustin Stoltzfus. I think that he's also going to mix in those level changes and find success in that grappling of his. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here, in which Mark is sitting at a -200. Dustin sitting at a +170. Like I said, I like Mark. I think that he could get it done here. Over 2.5 sitting at a -135. Under 2.5 sitting at a +105. I think that this... I think this ends. I think this goes to the cards. I think this is another one of those ones where we're kind of like hesitant because of the fact that it's two bigger guys. But I gotta go decision. I think Marc-Andre Barriault takes this to decision. I think that he finds success in the striking. I also think that he has the clear-cut grappling advantage. I think he's going to definitely find success in the grappling, take down Dustin Stoltzfus, make him uncomfortable. Find that ground and pound of his that's nasty, and maybe even put away Dustin Stoltzfus. But I think this goes to decision. Give me Barriault to beat Dustin Stoltzfus. And let's move along to the next bout in Caio Machado versus Brendson Ribeiro. And this one is a interesting one because Caio Machado hasn't been looking the greatest lately. He lost to Mick Parkin via unanimous decision, then lost to Maez via unanimous decision. So he hasn't been looking the greatest as of lately. He's been looking a little bit dull, a little bit flat. But if you guys go back and look at the photos, he completely changed his physique. He looks like he's taking this fight a lot more seriously. He's been looking in incredible shape. He's been looking lean. He's been looking phenomenal, which is why I am going with Caio Machado in this fight. I think that he can beat up Brendson Ribeiro. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight. I think it's going to be a great back and forth battle between these two, but I think Machado could get it done here. I think that he's a good striker with a quick, stiff jab. He mixes up his shots very well. He's got nice kicks. He's a good grappler, so he's not only a good striker, he's a good grappler that's got strong takedowns, that maintains control of you. I think he's going to have the grappling advantage here. I think in terms of striking, it's going to be interesting to see because I think Ribeiro is the more explosive fighter here. I just think that Machado, as this fight goes on, it will favor him. I think Brendson Ribeiro doesn't kind of gasses out as the rounds go. I think Ribeiro is a good striker with a stiff, quick jab. He's definitely heavy-handed. He's got all right grappling. He's got decent takedown defense. He's got the striking and reach advantage, like I said. But again, I think that Machado is going to be able to fare well in the striking department. I think that as this fight goes on, it's going to favor Machado. I feel as though he also has the clear-cut grappling advantage, like I said. And I feel as though he could use it to take down Brendson Ribeiro early, like I said in the previous fight, to kind of diminish the power of somebody that has a very, very strong, very heavy hands. So kind of diminish at that power, kind of eat away at his energy. That's what I think Caio Machado is going to do here. I think he's going to take it down to the ground where he knows he has the advantage and beat Brendson Ribeiro. And let's get the odds here on this fight, in which you have Machado sitting at a -157 and Brendson Ribeiro sitting at a +137. I think Machado has the clear-cut grappling advantage. I think in terms of the striking, I think it goes to Ribeiro. I think he's going to be the more explosive fighter. But I think Machado can take him down, diminish that power of his, diminish that energy of his, use the grappling ability of his to maintain control of Brendson Ribeiro, advance positions, and make Brendson Ribeiro very uncomfortable and overwhelm him and land some nice ground and pound and just beat him. I really feel as though Machado is coming out looking like a different, leaner person than he normally does. He's been taking this fight a lot more serious than previous fights, so I feel as though we're going to see a different version of him against Brendson Ribeiro. Over 1.5 sitting at a -175, under 1.5 sitting at a +145. I do think that this goes over 1.5. I think that these two, like I said, I think Machado takes him down to the ground and kind of wears at that power of his and energy, so I do see over 1.5 happening. Give me Caio Machado to beat Brendson Ribeiro. And let's go ahead and move along to the next bout, in which we have Derrick Lewis versus Jhonata Diniz. And I am going with Jhonata Diniz. I tried every way to pick Derrick Lewis. I'm a big Derrick Lewis fan. He always finds a way to win. I mean, he was the dog in multiple of his fights against Nascimento. He was the dog against De Lima. I believe he was a dog. And he finds a way to win every time. He's just the knockout king, man. He really is. He's a good striker with knockout power. Sometimes throws looping shots as the fight goes on. He's a decent grappler with devastating ground and pound. You do not want to be under Derrick Lewis. That's for sure. But again, I'm going with Jhonata Diniz. I think that he's the more patient, calculated kickboxer here. I think that he brings a good striking ability. He's got a quick, stiff jab. He has nice, snappy low kicks. He's a decent grappler with strong clinch pressure and all right takedown defense. I feel Diniz is going to be able to knock out Derrick Lewis. And it's sad to say, man. It's very, very sad to say. Diniz looked good against Carl Williams. He looked good against Austin Lane where he knocked him out, then knocked out Neves. So he has the obvious strength advantage here. I think that he's going to knock out Derrick Lewis. I think that he's the more patient, technical, and more calculated striker here. And I feel as though he's going to find that chin of Derrick Lewis. Not to mention, he has a half-inch reach advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. So I do want to point that out. Nothing major, but let's see if Diniz can be the more patient, calculated fighter and drop Derrick Lewis. Like I said, Derrick Lewis always finds a way. I'm a big fan of Derrick Lewis, but I think that Diniz is just too much for him this time. And let's look at the odds here, in which Derrick Lewis is sitting at a plus 140, Diniz sitting at a negative 160. I like Diniz. I think that he's the more patient, more calculated fighter. I feel as though he's going to be able to pick apart Derrick Lewis and find that knockout shot on Derrick Lewis. Over 1.5 sitting at a plus 125, under 1.5 sitting at a negative 155. I like the under 1.5. I think Diniz picks apart Derrick Lewis and finds the knockout. Early first round, or I'm going to say second round. I think Diniz finds the knockout second round. And let's move along to the co-main event in Rose Namajunas versus Erin Blanchfield. And I am going with Thug Rose. You can't pick against Thug Rose, man. You really can't pick against Thug Rose. She's a savage. I believe that she's going to be the more technical fighter here. I think that she has good striking. She's got quick, clean combinations. She mixes up her shots very, very well. Not only is she a good striker, she's a good grappler with solid takedown defense, strong takedowns. She also is a former world champion, has been in multiple 5-round fights, which is something that I do want to mention because this is a 5-rounder. This is a 5-round fight. So that is something that is going to favor Rose Namajunas a lot more than it is Erin Blanchfield. Erin Blanchfield is a good pressure wrestling fighter with all right striking. She does have a stiff jab. I feel as though Erin Blanchfield kind of leaves her head on the center line, leaving her to getting clipped a lot. She also doesn't bring the striking threat to the mix in with her level changes, so I feel as though she kind of telegraphs her takedowns, which isn't something that you want to do against somebody like Rose Namajunas. Erin Blanchfield is a good grappler with solid takedown, maintains control of you when she gets you down. It's just she has a problem of telegraphing her takedowns and also just doesn't bring that striking danger to really put you to really scare you into being worried about her striking and not being more focused on her grappling. I feel as though Thug Rose is going to be able to pick apart Erin Blanchfield. I feel like she's a more technical fighter, like I said. I also feel as though she's going to snub a lot of Erin Blanchfield's takedowns because of the fact of what I said. She's not going to she telegraphs her takedowns. Not only that, she sucks at using her striking and mixing it in with her level changes. So she's phenomenal when she gets you down to the ground. Her problem is getting you down to the ground. That's Erin Blanchfield's problem. So if Erin Blanchfield goes out there and can take down Rose Namajunas easily, then I believe Erin Blanchfield will have this. But I think that if she does what she normally does and telegraphs her takedowns and doesn't really bring that striking threat, then Rose Namajunas is going to be able to walk away with this W, be able to snub Erin Blanchfield's takedowns, be able to read the takedowns coming, and be able to pick apart, counter-strike Erin Blanchfield as she's coming in, rushing forward, and beat her. Rose Namajunas looked phenomenal in her win against Tracy Cortez. I get Tracy Cortez stepped in on short notice, but she looked phenomenal, absolutely destroying Tracy Cortez. Then she looked phenomenal against Amanda Ribas, where she got the unanimous decision there. Rose Namajunas is nobody to sleep on, man. She's a savage, so I'm surprised that she's at plus money here. I think that she beats Erin Blanchfield. I think Erin Blanchfield telegraphs her takedowns too much. It doesn't bring enough of a striking danger to really keep her grappling, to really let her grappling loose is what I'm trying to say. And let's look at the odds here, in which we have Erin Blanchfield sitting at a negative 141, Rose Namajunas sitting at a plus 121, and I am going to be definitely betting on Rose Namajunas. The fact that she's plus money in this 5-rounder is absolutely crazy. I think Rose Namajunas, as this fight goes on, it's going to favor her even more. So that is something to also note. Not only that, like I said, Erin Blanchfield telegraphs her fucking takedowns. I think Rose Namajunas is going to be able to snub them, be able to land some nice countering shots as Blanchfield is coming in, and pick Blanchfield apart, outwork her, outstrike her, overwhelm her, outdog her, and beat the crap out of Erin Blanchfield. Over 4.5 sitting at a negative 280. Under 4.5 sitting at a plus 220. I like the over 4.5. I think Rose Namajunas beats her via decision. I think it's going to be a close one, 48-47. Rose Namajunas. And let's go ahead and move along to the main event. And if you guys haven't, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And let's jump right into this main event in Brandon Moreno versus Amir Albazi. And looking at these two men, I was going to pick Amir Albazi, but then I went back and watched the fight between him and Kai Kara-France, and I feel as though Kai Kara-France should have won that. I really feel like that was a very, very controversial split decision in which I feel Kai Kara-France should have won that, but apparently the judges gave it to Amir Albazi, so got to take that with a grain of salt. He's got decent striking, but he's got this pressure-heavy fight style to him that he loves to use. He's got a quick, stiff jab. He mixes up his shots to the head and to the body well. He's got strong grappling abilities with solid takedowns, good takedown defense. I feel as though Amir Albazi is going to have the grappling advantage, but I don't think it's going to be by much. Let's not forget, Brandon Moreno is a great, great grappler with a jiu-jitsu belt, black belt, and Brandon Moreno has been up against the best competition. Like, no joke, has been always been up against the best competition. Lost to Alexandr Pantoja, who's the champion right now. Lost to Brandon Royval, who just beat Tatsu Taira. So he has been up against some great, great competitors. He beat Davison Figueiredo. Then he also knocked out Kai Kara-France. It's not like he went to decision with Kai Kara-France and beat him. No, he knocked him out. Not only that, he also, I get that he did lose to Davison Figueiredo, but that was a while ago. Brandon Moreno, yes, hasn't been looking the greatest as of lately, but again, has been up against some very good competition. Amir Albazi, yes, beat Kai Kara-France, but again, that was a very controversial win in which I think Kai Kara-France honestly beat him. And yes, he did look good against Alexander Costa, knocking him out. I do feel as though this is going to be a very, very close battle, but I am going with Brandon Moreno. I think that I'm not completely sold on Amir Albazi. I almost picked him, but again, I feel as though Kai Kara-France beat him. I feel as though he definitely, if you guys go back and watch that, had a lot of trouble taking Kai Kara-France down, and I feel like he's going to have more trouble trying to take Brandon Moreno down, who is decorated in the grappling abilities. Not only that, he's a great striker who also brings a submission threat. So Amir Albazi is definitely in for a rude awakening. I think Brandon Moreno is going to get rid of that losing streak he has and take Amir Albazi's winning streak away from him, because I feel as though he's his toughest competitor yet. Not only that, I feel as though he's going to have the better striking, and he's going to give him a run for his money in that grappling. I think that Brandon Moreno has tricky submissions and could find a submission on Amir Albazi. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here. in which Amir Albazi is sitting at a plus 134, Brandon Moreno sitting at a negative 154. I like Brandon Moreno. Like I said, Amir Albazi, not yet sold on him. He needs to go out there, beat Brandon Moreno for me to be sold on him. I think that Brandon Moreno is going to be the better striker. I think he's going to be able to pick apart Amir Albazi. I think he brings more of a submission threat than Amir Albazi does. I think that Amir Albazi does have knockout power, but again, Brandon Moreno is a dog, has always been up against the best competition. Amir Albazi had a controversial win over Kai Kara-France, in which I thought he lost, so give me Brandon Moreno to beat Amir Albazi. Over 4.5 sitting at a negative 210, under 4.5 sitting at a plus 170. I think that this definitely goes to decision. I think these two are very competitive on both sides, and I think that a lot of grappling is going to go down, some striking, in which I think Brandon Moreno will walk away with the W in a very close brawl between him and Amir Albazi. Give me Brandon Moreno to beat Amir Albazi. And if you guys haven't, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!